Kia ora, welcome to the Cleine Line. I'm Jamie Cleine, Mayor of Bulla, and this podcast is a place for honest conversations about local government, life on the coast, and everything in between. This isn't the official council line, it's my personal take, with no spin, no script, just open reflections on what's happening in our communities, around the council table, and sometimes from the halls of Parliament too. In this episode, we're diving into the local government elections, why they matter, how councils actually affect your daily life, the challenges and opportunities across the sector, and why working with central government is so important. We'll also zoom in on Bulla, the key issues, the personalities in the contest. And to finish, I'm going to spend some time on something that hasn't always had the attention it deserves, putting the port in Westport. Why it's not just an old relic by the river, but one of the most strategically important pieces of infrastructure we've got. So buckle in. This is going to be a slightly longer episode, but I reckon it's one worth sticking with. First off, voting. Local elections are often treated like the boring cousin of the national election. Turnout hovers around 40 to 50%, meaning less than half of us are deciding who sets the rates, runs our local services, and advocates for us at a national level. And here's the thing, councils have more impact on your day-to-day life than Parliament does most weeks. They're the ones who decide whether your rubbish gets picked up, whether your street gets resealed, whether your local swimming pool stays open. If central government is like the helicopter circling above, local government is the boots on the ground, dealing with the potholes, literally and figuratively. So when you don't vote, you're basically saying, I'm fine letting someone else decide what happens with my rates, my services, my town. Which, let's be honest, is a bit like leaving your wallet at the bar and saying, help yourselves, I trust you. Now yes, I have to say the voting process itself isn't exactly flashy. It's a postal vote, which in 2025 makes us feel like we've literally gone back in time. Everything else in life happens on your phone. You can renew your passport, pay your bills, even order a curry without leaving the couch. But to vote locally? Nope. You need a pen, an envelope, and a trip to the post box. On the upside, it's actually dead easy once you get over the novelty. The papers arrive, you open them, you tick the boxes, you seal the envelope, and you pop it in the red post box. And no, those red boxes around town aren't just quirky street furniture, they do still get emptied. And this year, for the first time, there's also boxes at council and most supermarkets where you can cast your votes as well. Think of it this way, by the time you've scrolled TikTok for 10 minutes, you could have voted and put it in the mail. So there really is no excuses. A lot of people underestimate how much councils shape daily life. If your water runs, if your street lights work, if your kids have a playground to go to, that's all local government. If your rates go up, yep, that's them too. It's not glamorous, but it's crucial. Local government is the wiring behind the walls. You don't think about it when it works, but when it goes wrong, suddenly everyone's an expert. Across the local government sector, the big challenges are essentially the same: infrastructure, climate resilience, and affordability. Councils are trying to keep up ageing assets with limited revenue tools. Rates are the main lever, and nobody wants to pay more. But nobody wants their water pipes bursting either. Add in climate change on top, more floods, more slips, more erosion. Communities like ours on the coast are on the front line. Councils have to plan, but not just for today, but for the next 50 years. And that's certainly no easy task. But there are also opportunities: digital tools, renewable energy projects, stronger iwi council partnerships, and new funding models. But all of it relies on one thing: trust and collaboration with central government. And that relationship has been, let's say, bumpy at times. Closer to home, the coast has 3 districts and 1 region: Bulla, Grey and Westland, and the West Coast Regional Council. Each has its own politics, its own budget, and its own headaches. But here's the truth. We're too small to be divided. If Buller was pulling in one way and Grey pulling another, we lose. Wellington loves nothing more than a divided region. It makes it so easy to say, come back when you've sorted yourselves out. But when we stand united, we punch above our weight. And we've seen that with flood recovery, with infrastructure bids, and with tourism promotion. United, we can do things. Divided, we're just three small towns shouting into the wind. Now let's talk ports. For most people, the Port of Westport is something you either drive past on the way to Carter's Beach, or you just know it's over the back of the shops down Palmerston Street. But it's a whole lot more than that. Back in the day, Westport was one of the busiest ports in New Zealand. Coal, timber, gold, all headed out over the Buller River Bar. These days, the traffic is definitely lighter, but the principle is still the same. It's a gateway. Every load of fish that's landed in Westport, or every load of sand or rock that leaves Westport, supports contractors, drivers, and many families right across the Buller district. And when disaster strikes, ports really matter. In the 2021 floods, we saw just how fragile our connections are. Many roads blocked with slips everywhere, bridges closed. Supplies had to come around the long way. Now imagine AF8, the Alpine Fault, where the South Island will literally snap. Roads, they'll be gone in places. Rail, certainly twisted, and airports may also be damaged too. In that moment, the port isn't just handy, it's essential. It's how fuel, food, and emergency crews will get in. Then there's the Midland Line, and it's certainly our export artery, but it's also a single point of failure. We've seen it closed by slips for weeks, by derailments, by weather. Now scale that up to an earthquake and it could be out for years. Without a port, we'd be stuck. With a port, we've got options to move coal, to ship in supplies, and to keep the economy ticking even at a reduced speed. Here's the funny thing. Coastal shipping has suddenly got cool again. After decades of being written off, people are realising it's a low-carbon, resilient and practical option. And ports like Westport could be a part of that future. Successive governments now have had contestable funds to support the development of coastal shipping around New Zealand. Both Westport and Greymouth ports have taken advantage of that. And the current government too has a $30 million contestable fund to further support investments into resilience to support coastal shipping at ports all around New Zealand, an opportunity that Grey, Buller and the West Coast Regional Council will be continuing to work on this term. They do this investment because they see the strategic importance of coastal shipping, both for resilience, economic opportunity, and an ability to deliver freight and goods around New Zealand while managing the carbon footprint of New Zealand's transport fleet. Westport people understand this instinctively. We know what it's like to be cut off. We've all seen the gorge closed after slips, and we've all seen how quickly the shelves clear out at New World when the trucks can't get through. Having a port is like having an insurance policy. You hope you never cash in, but you're glad that you've got it there. So next time someone says, what's the point of having a port? The answer is simple. It's jobs, it's resilience, and it's survival. And when AF8 hits, it may be the most valuable asset we've got. And this is where the central-local relationship comes in again, because the government understands keeping a port viable takes investment. It takes recognition from Wellington that resilience isn't just a buzzword, it's concrete, steel, and wharves. It's lifelines like the Port of Westport that turn words into reality. This is why the National Emergency Management Agency invested in a piece of brand new wharf in Westport, and the Regional Infrastructure Fund recently approved the development of a roll-on, roll-off facility to further enhance the resilience and usability of Westport Port when disaster strikes. So how does all this tie back to the election? Well, in Buller, voters are choosing who's going to front these arguments. Who's going to walk into a beehive office and say, "Actually, Minister, here's why this matters to Buller." And that often means linking the government strategy to our local strategy to really convince them that this is an important investment, not only for Buller, but for the region or for New Zealand as a whole. The big issues are clear: flood recovery, economic diversification, infrastructure, housing, and yes, resilience assets such as the port. The contest is about which candidates people trust to deliver, to advocate, and to get us through the next 3 years. Local elections aren't just about today's rates bill or whether the recycling bin gets picked up on time. They're about the kind of community we choose to be. Do we invest in each other or do we drift apart? Do we plan for the long haul or do we leave it all to chance? Every vote is a statement of belonging. A way of saying, this is my place, and these are my people, and I care about what happens here. On the coast, we've always known how to dig in, to look after one another, and find opportunity where many others see only struggle. And yes, I know popping your ballot in the postbox doesn't feel like some grand historic moment, but that little tick is more powerful than you think. It's a small act of hope, one that, when joined with thousands of others, shapes the future of Buller. Because the people you elect locally don't just make decisions about pipes and roads. They're also your voice to the rest of New Zealand. They're the ones walking into the beehive, into the boardrooms or onto national media, saying here's who we are, here's what we need, and here's why the Buller matters. Choosing that voice carefully is one of the most important decisions you'll ever make for your community. So don't leave those papers under the takeaway menus. Fill them in, drop them in the ballot box, and have a quiet smile knowing you've done your little bit. Because if we all do that, then whatever challenges come our way, be they floods, slips, or even AF8, we'll face them together with the kind of grit and good humour that's always defined us. That's it for this episode. Thanks for listening to the Cleine Line. This podcast is here to spark conversation, share a bit of insight, and shine a light on the things that matter to Buller. But I also want to hear what matters to you. If there's an issue you'd like my thoughts on, someone in the community we should feature, or a topic you think deserves some airtime, send me an email, jamie@theclineline.com. I'll be back next time with more updates, reflections, and what's been happening around the district. Until then, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk again soon.